Arsenal legend Ian Wright expressed his disbelief at a decision made by Mikel Arteta during the clash against Manchester City. On the other hand, despite receiving a red card, Leandro Trossard will not miss Arsenal's next Premier League game. Meanwhile, Joan Garcia made an honest admission about his future at Arsenal. Stay with me until the end of the video to check out the latest Arsenal news straight from the Emirates Stadium. But before that, if you're as passionate about Arsenal as we are, don't waste any time and subscribe to our channel right now to stay updated on everything happening with the greatest team in the Premier League. And without further ado, let's dive into today's top news. Just like in the match against Brighton a few weeks ago, Mikel Arteta had to reshuffle his Arsenal lineup after yet another red card, this time against Manchester City. While Declan Rice's sending off felt unlucky in the previous game, Leandro Trossard's dismissal was harder to defend. It was a foolish mistake and he should have known better. Trossard might argue that he didn't hear the whistle, but his half-hearted clearance suggested otherwise. With Arsenal reduced to 10 men, Arteta had no choice but to set up a defensive strategy at halftime. The Gunners were forced into a 5-4-0 formation, bracing themselves to defend against one of the strongest teams in the world for the entire second half. Remarkably, Arsenal came agonizingly close to pulling off an incredible win, only for John Stones to score a late equalizer, leaving the Gunners visibly gutted on the Etihad pitch. Despite the disappointment, once emotions settle, the Arsenal squad will likely reflect on that hard-fought point with pride. Holding City at bay for so long was no small feat, and it showcased their resilience. During the match, Ian Wright expressed some doubts about one of Mikel Arteta's halftime decisions, as shared via the Premier League. To shore up the defense by deploying Ben White as an additional center-back, Arteta made the unexpected move of subbing off Bukayo Saka, a decision that caught many by surprise. White, who was dealing with an injury prior to the game, still put his body on the line given the difficult circumstances Arsenal faced. Reflecting on the choice to remove Saka, Wright commented, "Maybe the pace of Martinelli is going to be a major factor to keep City stretched. It is a big one for me. I can't believe it." The decision to bench Saka, Arsenal's key creative outlet, raised eyebrows, especially given how crucial he is in transition, but Arteta seemed to prioritize a defensive approach against the relentless attack of Manchester City. Mikel Arteta's decision to substitute Bukayo Saka was a tough call, as it essentially came down to choosing between sacrificing Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, or Kai Havertz. Gabriel Martinelli had been excellent for Arsenal, and as Ian Wright suggested, few players are as dangerous as Martinelli on the break if the chance had presented itself. His pace and ability to stretch City's defense made him a valuable asset in a game where counterattacking could have been crucial. On the other hand, dropping Kai Havertz would have meant completely surrendering a focal point up front. Havertz's physical presence and ability to hold up the ball provided a much-needed outlet for Arsenal, especially when playing with 10 men. Ultimately, Arteta opted to keep Martinelli's speed and Havertz's presence on the pitch, prioritizing balance and the potential for quick counterattacks, even if it meant taking off one of his most influential players in Saka. After some incredibly tough away trips, Arsenal will now enjoy 4 consecutive games at home before the October international break. Arteta's side welcomed Bolton to the Emirates Stadium for a third-round EFL Cup tie on Wednesday. And after his brief appearance against Man City on Sunday, Miles Lewis-Skelly may get another chance alongside the likes of Ethan Nwaneri and Raheem Sterling. It would be a surprise if Arteta didn't ring the changes, a chance to share minutes and also rest one or two who were cramping up at the Etihad. Why Leandro Trossard will not miss Arsenal's next Premier League game despite red card. Leandro Trossard received a one-match ban after picking up 2 yellow cards in Arsenal's 2-2 draw with Manchester City. He was first booked in the 34th minute for a foul on Savinho, and then saw a second yellow just before halftime for kicking the ball away. The decision to dismiss Trossard was criticized by pundits like Jamie Carragher and Chris Sutton, especially since Declan Rice was sent off for a similar offense against Brighton just a few weeks prior. Despite the red card, Trossard will still be available for Arsenal's next Premier League fixture against Leicester City at the Emirates Stadium on Saturday. The reason for this is that the one-match suspension he received only applies to domestic cup competitions, not the Premier League. Since the red card occurred in the context of a league match, Trossard will serve his ban in the EFL Cup or FA Cup, depending on Arsenal's upcoming cup fixtures. Therefore, Arsenal fans can expect to see him available for the important clash against Leicester. For those unfamiliar with how suspensions work in domestic football, bans earned in competitions like the Premier League, FA Cup, or Carabao Cup can be served across any of these tournaments, while European competitions are treated separately. In Arsenal's case, Leandro Trossard will be fortunate that his next domestic suspension can be served in the upcoming Carabao Cup match against Bolton on Wednesday. This means the Belgian international will miss that cup tie, allowing him to return fresh and eligible for Arsenal's Premier League clash against Leicester City on Saturday. It's a lucky break for Mikel Arteta's side, ensuring that Trossard will only miss a cup game rather than a key league fixture. That's a big plus for Arsenal, especially since Mikel Arteta likely wouldn't have planned to use Leandro Trossard against Bolton anyway, given that they're a League One side. In matches like this, key players are often rested to avoid unnecessary risks. In fact, it's likely that Arteta will turn to a Hale End Academy graduate like Ethan Nwaneri to start, giving the youngster valuable experience. Alternatively, he might field someone like Raheem Sterling, who could use the minutes to further integrate into the squad and build chemistry with his teammates. This situation allows Arsenal to navigate Trossard's suspension without any major disruption to their league campaign. Last season showed just how crucial every single Premier League game is in a title race against a juggernaut such as Manchester City. For example, Arsenal won 16 of their last 18 Premier League outings. But it was not enough to secure the title, as the Gunners only won 12 of their first 20 games of the 2023-24 Premier League campaign. Therefore, while some might think it's only Leicester ahead of Saturday's game, a highly effective player such as Trossard could well be the difference maker, so it is great news for Arteta that the man from Maasmechelen can play against the Foxes. Joan Garcia makes honest admission about his future. Arsenal underwent a major revamp in their goalkeeper department this summer. After signing David Raya on a permanent basis following his loan spell at the Emirates, Mikel Arteta also needed a replacement for Aaron Ramsdale, who made a surprise move to Southampton. On transfer deadline day, Arteta brought in veteran goalkeeper Neto on loan from Bournemouth. However, it's been reported that Arsenal's first choice to replace Ramsdale was actually Espanyol's Joan Garcia. Unfortunately, the Gunners were unable to reach an agreement with Espanyol, as the Spanish club refused to lower their asking price. With time running out before the window closed, sporting director Edu Gaspar made the executive decision to abandon the pursuit of Garcia and push through the deal for Neto instead. Despite missing out on Garcia this summer, it seems Arteta hasn't given up. There are indications that Arsenal may reignite their interest in the Espanyol keeper in future transfer windows. According to the Mirror, it is expected that Arteta may well rekindle his interest in Garcia in December, ahead of the January transfer window. They have also quoted the keeper discussing his future and the aftermath of his dramatic summer. Garcia said, "During the entire market, I was quite isolated. I was at the Olympic Games, and when I arrived, La Liga was already starting. The last few days were more intense, but I was very isolated, focusing on what I had to do, which is the field. I managed not to get distracted. Regarding my continuity, I am very happy that people are happy that I have stayed. I have worked all these years for this, playing with Espanyol in the first division, and this is how it is. I hope to take advantage of it. With the Olympic Games, I came when the season was already beginning. I've barely had time to think about it. It was the opportunity I've been working for, and I couldn't afford to have my head out of it. Everything comes to you, but I had to be very calm with my head where it should be." Should Arsenal revisit their pursuit of Joan Garcia? While it's clear the Gunners have a strong appreciation for him, bringing in another goalkeeper might not be the best use of transfer funds right now, especially with Neto providing solid backup for David Raya. Raya has been in exceptional form to start the season, making it unlikely that Garcia would significantly challenge for the starting spot. Additionally, there are other areas of the squad that could benefit more from investment. Mikel Arteta would likely be better off focusing on adding attacking reinforcements this winter, addressing immediate needs for the squad. Postponing another move for Garcia until the summer, when Nato's loan expires, could be a more strategic approach for the club. This way, Arsenal can reassess their options and needs at that time. Well, folks, those were the main news for today. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated on everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and until the next video.